They tried to play us, but we made the game. Offend these haters, turn their shade to shame.
Believe you me.
Stick with the name that pays. Big Daddy everything.
And they thought I was dumb to rap, but how dumb is that when I'm the running back? Good punch you in front of you at eye level, see if you gon' stomach that. It's food for thought, but we don't feed them hoes, we don't need them hoes. Eloquent, Big Daddy elephant, just in they element. Intelligence, telling men something they could tell a friend. And what a day. What's up, everybody? Our Mentum Elephantes, the herd of elephants. I salute you all. It's a wonderful time to be doing this again. I moved the lighting down a little bit. I think it kind of gives me a bit of a different look. I don't know.
It looks actually pretty good, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jeff. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Speaking of Jeff, you want to say what's up to the people there?
I do, yeah, Jeff. This is Jeff. People, what's up, man? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing well. It's good to be here. This is, in fact, the Big Daddy Energy Podcast. We talk about everything here, all things related to man, manliness, mankind. We also talk about very interesting things, socioeconomics, history, all kinds of stuff. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. I opened the back window there to get a little bit of extra lighting in. It's casting some shadows on that side. So
that's good stuff.
Looks like we've got some good lighting.
Good deal. But I appreciate you, brother. We really appreciate when y'all chime in on the comments. It's always good. Helps us to go. Like to feel like we're interacting with everybody.
Yep.
And keeping this thing rolling. If y'all would go ahead and subscribe on YouTube. For some reason, and I don't know why this is, Jeff. But for some reason, hey man, people are not checking us out, man. What's up with that?
I don't know. Maybe the people that are checking us out aren't telling anybody to check us out.
You think so?
Yeah. Hey, y'all, if y'all are here, go subscribe on the YouTube.
Yeah, go subscribe to YouTube. Also, if you will look right here, and then also over there, it's kind of like right there, you'll see our Instagram handle. So go ahead and join us on Instagram, because what we'd like to start doing is going live on IG. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a different crowd over there, brother. My Instagram people are a little different than my Facebook people.
Yeah, I feel you. Once I start building my Instagram and we get people involved, my Instagram will be much different than this place.
Got you. Craig says, much love and respect to you both, Sola and Jeff. Man, we appreciate you, brother Craig.
What's up, Craig? Looking
as
good,
always.
Brother. Yes, sir.
As always. We had a chance to Twitter. That's what we need to do. Twitter, that's where it's at, brother.
Yeah, brother. I can get on Twitter and start saying crazy shit and then get other people to tweet it.
Yeah. And then maybe they'll come check us out.
Yeah, because they love drama on Twitter. That's a good idea. Appreciate it, Craig. We'll get on Twitter.
Yeah. All right. Just real quick, I would like to go ahead and give Craig the honorary beard title, because Jeff, my beard, your beard,
they don't compare, man.
We met Craig in person, and these ain't beards, man.
Now we have Sol and I have facial hair. Craig has a beard that'll reach out and touch.
Oh man,
we just have facial hair. That's all we have, bro.
For sure, man. But very, very wholesome time we was able to have with our brother, man.
Yeah,
and
cool, man.
That's cool. We're not gonna share much about it, but just know, getting to see you, man, inviting us over, and being able to see family and all that, man. We live for that kind of stuff, so we appreciate you, brother, for real.
Yep. Yeah, it was a good time, man. Appreciate the hospitality, brother.
And I still got to get Jeff to the Timmy Chans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We drove by the one that nobody went to. There was like 2 cars out front.
I took him by the one in A-Leaf. Ain't nothing like, bro. I wouldn't do Jeff like that. I wouldn't introduce Jeff to Timmy Chance on Bissonnette and Sinai. I wouldn't do that. So he just saw that there was such a thing as Timmy Chance. That's all.
Gotcha.
1,000. Yes, sir. All right, bet. So today we're gonna be talking about something that for one, if there's men that have lived and died, and within that time when they were born and when they left, MLK at 6'10", absolutely. And we're talking about MLK today, as a matter of fact. So, brother, so just a little history. You wouldn't know this about Houston. There's people in Houston that don't know this, but the street that MLK used to be, they changed street names in every city to be MLK, Martin Luther King. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You should be able to find that in every city. Oh. But the street that used to be, that's MLK now, used to be South Park Boulevard. That's when you hear somebody say they're from South Park.
Got you.
They're talking about this one street that goes all the way, down.
Okay. All right.
MLK. All right. And all the neighboring, and so the different places that's close to that street that may not necessarily, you got Sunnyside, you got these different places. That's not, it's South Side, but it's not necessarily South Park because it doesn't connect directly to MLK. So, I don't know, brother. I had to.
That's cool, brother. I didn't know that.
All right, just listen, Jeff.
Yeah,
I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
I get it, man. We get it. You're from Houston. All right. The rest of us just have one Walmart. All right.
Got you.
Texas. The rest of us in Texas.
Yes, sir. So we like to talk about men who have lived and died, and within that span that they lived, whether they're still living or if they passed on, if they did something worthy to talk about, noteworthy, then we want to make sure that their legacy lives on with us, through us, and after us. That's important, right? A man, brother, a man does something, especially if he dies for what he believes in.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he live forever?
Yeah, he should. Okay. He should, yeah.
If he stood on, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, especially if people loved him and followed him, then for sure. If he died doing what he believed in, but he was like by himself in the woods, I don't know. But, anything else, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if he stood on principles.
Yeah.
If he had standards, if he was had a great deal of selflessness as he lived his life. He lived, sacrificially. Somebody like that should be spoken of, right?
For sure, yeah, absolutely.
Let's think about the Christ and how he's still spoken of, deservedly so.
Yep. That's partly why ideas don't die, because somebody pushes the idea, tells everyone about it, gets people to fall in love with it, and then they die supporting it. The person may be dead, but the idea continues on, and so it's noteworthy, brother. And I think pick up the banner. We should take it and say, "Hey, we found this dusty idea in the dirt. Seems like someone's forgotten about it, but apparently this was a big deal. So let's pick it up and continue it."
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, the same is the case with a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A few times I've just called him Dr. Martin King. I didn't like the Luther part. I know he was named after a guy named Martin Luther, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it until I found out that MLK is how you spell king in Hebrew.
That's not how you spell king.
I'm sorry, man. Is there no way that's is there no way that that's true?
I just
It's
tried it. I tried it 8 times before I said that. That's why I was quiet. And I keep getting milk, brother. I don't know what you're talking about. Took me a second to try all the variations, but
that's how to spell king
in
in
Hebrew.
Hebrew. Yeah. The way you pronounce it is malak.
Malek. Okay.
You've heard that before, right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Malak. And it just so happens that's how you spell king, brother. MLK
Yeah.
in Hebrew. And so I said, man, there's a few things I would look at with Dr. King. I would say, man, I don't know, man, this dream stuff that he had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mostly look at what are we talking about now? Jeff, you're not Hebrew.
Well, I'm Hebrew, but I'm not only Hebrew. More specifically, I'm Hebrew Israelite.
There you go.
So that is correct.
Good job, Jeff. Way to stick it to you and bully.
Out here trying to pick on me, man. You're my baby sister, and I'm my big sister. Jeez.
Savannah says, "Hey, y'all, what's up?"
Savannah, how's it going? I still think about what you said the last time you were on here.
Yeah, that was
it was good. I've been dissecting it for a while.
That was thought provoking.
It was.
Alyssa says, "Dude, reconnect with your tribe."
That's the goal, Alyssa.
So colonized.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you're here, Alyssa. We're talking about something that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about. Savannah says, "Good," with exclamation mark. Good, she said.
Yeah, critique instead of criticize. But let's go. All right.
So Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was not just about this dream of good evening, fellas, Manny says. I'm more of a Malcolm X gal. Yeah. Not the gal part, but I was the same way.
Same, yeah.
I was the same way. And listen, I don't have issue with Malcolm at all. There's these M's, brother. Marcus, Malcolm, Martin. And there might even be one more I'm forgetting, brother. That's an M. But
I'm sure there is.
I can't think of it right now. I'm on YouTube. What's up, Dot?
Dot, what's up, brother?
Appreciate it. Turn up for us. Sola. No. Oh, man. Okay. Sola. Want to take the rest?
And Jeff.
you stretched out there.
I did the E by accident, and Jeff.
Yeah. There you go. Mildred. That's Jeff's real name. Mildred.
I bet that means something really cool. And you just gave me a compliment, Alyssa. Go ahead, Solo. I'll be looking it up. Wow.
All right, bet. So we appreciate it, man. Love y'all. We love you too. All right, so I used to look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as the dreamer. You know, oh, you got these dreams. You just want everybody to get along. You don't really want to go to war. And that's how I used to look at it. It was a disrespectful way, Jeff. Can I be honest?
No, for sure, brother. Yeah.
It was in a very disrespectful way. It's because I didn't hear what he was talking about the day before he died. I didn't hear that until just this week.
Yeah.
And he was 39 years old. I'm 41, brother. I think I made a mistake before I turned 41 or 2.
Yeah. Of
I think
course,
I had some views that was probably wrong before now.
no, absolutely, brother. That was just if I could just real quick. That was my thoughts on MLK Jr. Also, was I always considered him to be just a pacifist, brother, and I have a big problem with that.
Yeah.
And I think he did too at some point. But it turns out he was actually had, I guess you could call Mildred. MLK Jr. had Mildred, a gentle strength
Well,
about
that's what it
himself.
is.
That's what it means. Yeah, I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Gentle strength, brother. And hearing this speech, man, it really changed the way I see him and what he must have been thinking and what his ideas must have been developing into
Oh, yes, sir.
prior to his demise.
Savannah says, wait, you are not 41. Let's see.
Maybe you got the math wrong, brother.
This is 2022. I am. I am 41. I am. Let's see. I have to do more research on MLK because I did hear some sus things about him. Yeah. Well, what we're going to discuss today is that what we're going to here. Is that me again? Tripping.
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm spinning over here. This is wild, brother. Good topic too. Mic check, mic check.
All right, here we go. All right, like his idea and ideology was inherently good, but I don't know the stuff I heard and read about him. I'm gonna just have to find my source. Hearing things during segregated times. Hearing things. All right, Jeff, was I going in and out? Because I couldn't connect with y'all for a while.
Yeah, once you started reading, you've been clear since.
I bet. So what we're discussing today is that Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., saw a different path for the segregated peoples, the people who we call minorities, and it's very similar to the stuff that Jeff and we talk about. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm aware about segregation, but I'm talking about MLK as a person. Okay. Oh, they're talking back and forth. Right.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking. So, how foolish of me to think they were talking to me, Jeff.
Sorry, man.
So, there was some sanitation workers who they were on strike, right, Jeff, in Memphis.
Yeah.
All right, so they were on strike, and he went over there because he wanted to see them be treated fairly, and with respect. And so he knew, according to the Constitution, that you had the right to peacefully protest. How does the Constitution read?
Peacefully assemble. Yeah,
Okay.
you have the right to assemble.
Okay, the right to assemble.
I don't know that peacefully is in the context, but
it probably
assemble,
isn't, right? Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't know that it is.
All right, so the right to assemble, freedom of speech, these things, and so he's helping them in their strike, and then he started to encourage boycotting and withdrawing funds from certain banks. He actually said don't buy Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Don't buy Wonder Bread."
Yeah.
Brother, I never heard this stuff before, man. Never. I didn't get a chance to hear any of that stuff. I wonder why, brother. I wonder why I have a dream. I heard it. I heard that speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
How come I didn't hear I've been to the mountaintop?
I don't know, brother, because when I look at historically speaking, when you see famous people or people that are so impactful when they die, typically their best work is their work right before they go.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Um,
Like Tupac.
yeah.
Yeah, Machiavelli.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln had a speech that he made right before he died. That was very, very big deal. I don't know, brother. I've never heard of this sermon ever. I've never.
Because I was an alien. That's why I never heard
As you was an alien. Yeah, yeah.
it.
If you were from Memphis, you might have heard it, brother.
That's
It could.
probably true.
It could be because the I Have a Dream took. I mean, brother, that was broadcasted on television
Yeah.
at the Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of a big deal. Maybe that's why.
Right. Like Kevin, average at best. Sorry, let's not bring Kevin Samuels up. Not today.
We're trying to talk about something.
We can't afford to go down that way. Anyways, we talked about him in class multiple times, but there were some flaws in theories. Yeah, I mean, I get it. There, I was a little more critical of. I'm critical of a lot of preachers.
Yeah.
And I'm finding out that I need to slow down on that because I don't know exactly what God has in mind.
Yeah.
I can't think like God. So I'm less critical of. I mean, it's obvious if a pastor is doing wickedness, then that's wickedness. But if for somebody to put himself in front of all these people, at such a young age, maybe I should look more into. It's kind of like what Alyssa's doing. She says she got to look more into it. You got to really, really dig to see what's going on because there's a bigger picture. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Some people can look at me, brother, and listen. I lift weights, brother, but there's some things that I don't really work on that much, and they could say you suck because look at your calves. Can't tell me how to work out. Look at those calves. Those little puny calves.
Yeah.
Right, but that doesn't change the fact that I could probably bench press everybody I know, right? I probably could, brother. Probably could lift their weight. So either we can look at the small stuff and make a big deal out of it, or we can look at the real impact that's being had. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had to die after the speech that he had. It's called I've Been to the Mountaintop. Is that how's it go? I've been to the mountaintop.
Yeah, I've been to the mountaintop. Yeah.
Savannah says, please don't. I think we were talking about Kevin Samuels on that one.
Yeah.
I believe he wanted to do good and had good intentions, but it's a fantasy land.
YouTube people.
YouTube people will never look at us as equal.
Yeah, we're Facebookers or YouTubers.
All right, you have nice calves. I appreciate that, man. I think I think my calves are all right. So yeah, it's not YouTube. We know exactly. If you just sound it out, we got you. So what he was talking about, you have to die for. In 1960s America, you do. If you have that kind of leadership, and you can affect that much, then you do got to go. When you start messing with people's money, that's when that's what gets anybody serious. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. You start messing with somebody's money. That's why they fine us for certain things.
Yeah.
Because if they find you, they know, okay, you're right. I'll go ahead and I don't want that to happen again.
Yep.
that speech was pages. Yeah, I actually have some things out of that speech, some excerpts. Jeff, you want to share some of your thoughts? I'm gonna look up.
Yeah, just so I think like you, I categorized groups of people and their ideas and kind of made an early judgment on it. Um, I will say this, everything that Sol and I think about, we always apply this to our baseline, especially these kind of topics. Our baseline of understanding comes from the scriptures. And so, there's a passage in the Bible where Paul, I think it's Paul, he says it doesn't really matter if they're preaching Christ for self gain or whatever, as long as they're preaching Christ, whether they're doing it for this reason or that reason. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but so long as they're preaching Christ, then he's happy. And I think that's kind of been our attitude with a lot of these preachers. Now, some of them are blatantly disrespectful towards the people that have a need of hope, and so in that way, we're not going to let up on them, right? There's guys out here that are just absolutely disrespectful, disingenuous, and they disregard God's people. And that way it's like, nah, you guys suck. But with Martin Luther King Jr., it was kind of a different thing because he started on his path in a different way than he ended. And I think the more I look at it and the more I apply everything I've learned, I kind of understand because early on in a very outrageous idea, you kind of want things to go smoothly because of how outrageous your idea is. And I would assume that was his idea, his thought process was we're gonna try to do this thing with peace so that it can go smoothly. But throughout the ordeal, the other side refused peace. And I think he started to realize, and you'll probably see some of this in some of these passages, he started to realize that peace wasn't going to help. Malcolm X, on the other hand, knew very early from his historical studies that peace is not the answer, and so that's why their approaches were very different in the beginning. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
and during the era, protests were beneficial to get things done in America. There was a time in America where protesting actually worked, right? And
Right.
lobbyists, the term lobbyist, it comes from people going into a building and sitting in the lobby. That's where it comes from. And so that's why they're called lobbyists, because they come in, sit in the lobby, and don't move. There was a time in America that's what lobbyists did. They came into your bank or your institution or the White House and sat down in the lobby. I'm not moving until you pass this law. And that worked. But so looking at the past through today's lens is going to skew the way we view some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what I was doing with Martin Luther King Jr. was looking at something that happened in the past with today's lens. And today's lens, it's like that would never have worked. But back then, I don't know that I would have that understanding. So, and it's because of what happened to him that I know it won't work because he was killed. So I'll just stop there, brother.
Okay, I just want to read some things just real quick. Alyssa, I'll come back to that comment in just a sec. So this is the reason why he got killed, and I really want to make a connection, Jeff. Where's my camera at? Right here. All right, this camera. If someone gets killed for a matter, something that he said or that he was going to be behind pushing and believing in, then it's worth looking it up and seeing what went on here. What was that about? I'm going to read to you. He gave many speeches before. He seemed to be a threat because he could corral the people. But one thing that he did was he jumped over what would be resistance. He jumped over it and went to something that was going to be a knockout blow. Because the so-called Latino people, the so-called Hispanic people, the so-called most of the minority base, we're all the same people. As a matter of fact, if you look at certain demographics, you'll see that we're all the same people. The only reason
Yeah.
they'll separate us is because, so like the indigenous people, so the so-called Native Americans, the uh the a lot of Spanish speaking countries, or you go to Brazil, which is a Portuguese speaking people, but all these people, we are all the same people. Let's see. Uh, Hold on, I'm coming back. I'm coming to these comments in a little bit. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to be able to see how we're all connected.
Yeah.
You got to open your eyes just a little bit. At least open your heart just a little bit. But what you'll realize is that as a minority, the true minority is a small group that comes from Europe. That small group that comes from Europe, their biggest population is in the United States of America. Look, if you might say, what are you talking about? There's Finland, there's Greece. I'm telling you that the biggest population of the Europeans concentrated in any country is the United States of America. And so
Yeah.
he became a threat because he was corralling the majority. He started to be able to speak to the majority. Now we're called minorities, but I'm saying he was appealing to the actual majority, the real majority of the world, because he had people in South Africa that could identify with what he was saying, and so on and so forth. Right. That was somewhat of a threat, but when he started talking about money, when he started talking about here's a plan to really dictate our future, they had to kill him. I'm gonna tell you what he said. Uh, Now, the other thing we'll have to do is this: always anchor our external direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. Now, we are poor people. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Never stop and forget that collectively, that means all of us together, collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world, with the exception of 9. Did you ever think about that? After you leave the United States, Soviet Russia, Great Britain, West Germany, France, and I could name the others, the Negro collectively is richer than most nations of the world. We have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. Did you know that? So the the uh the people, he calls the Negro people, in 19, what was that, brother, 65?
Yes, sir.
In 1965 had an economy of over $30 billion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Obviously today it's even bigger. All right, so these I gotta make sure that we engage with our people, brother.
Yeah,
All
just
right,
just to
all
give
right.
you an idea how big that is, why you do that, brother, is I think he goes on to say that was the same, that was more than the budget of the Canadian government. Um,
Yeah,
quite a bit of money.
absolutely. It worked amongst different ethnic groups. I'm not what's so long. I don't know what she's talking about. Do you think that
The
works in today's?
protest.
Oh, the protest. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. No.
Do you think that works in today's society if he wasn't killed? Protest? No, not
No.
today. Not
No.
today's society. How did it work back then when there's still silent segregation?
Silent segregation, I think, deals more with cultural acceptance. The protests that worked, in essence, that moderately worked was about changing and reforming law. Right. So it's one thing to make a law make a difference, to get a law changed, than to get
The culture.
culturally accepted. Yeah. Like there's no law or protest you can put in place to get, let's say, racist people to not be racist. There's nothing you can do about that.
That's true.
So
That would work. Oh, that would work. She's fixing what she said. I'm more Malcolm than Martin. We could have a brother. Didn't we do Malcolm before? We did a
yeah,
Malcolm.
we did. We did.
Malcolm before.
Yeah, I think I said the same thing. I'm more of a Malcolm X kind of guy.
Why? Why?
Because when I listen to Malcolm X, man, I hear action. I heard action, like real action, and he addressed some of the issues that I think needed to be addressed more directly. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what about his support, brother? He lost a lot of support.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. The thing I didn't like about Malcolm was the setup that he was born in, pretty much.
I'll tell you what.
The Nation of Islam, all that. That's the part I was like, I don't know what, you know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you what. Regardless of how whatever path we do get there, because there's going to be somebody that may not be religious at all. It's going to stand up, and he's going to go in front of the people because he has the nuts to do it.
That's it. Yeah.
Part of my speech, young ladies, but you know what I'm saying? He may not be religious at all, but he's like, nah, man, this is the way to go, and he'll get out in front, and you know, some people are going to have things to say about him. Brother, listen, nowadays it could be a woman. It could actually be a woman nowadays, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, yeah, for sure, brother. Yeah.
But I would have to go and get in front of her. I'm sorry, brother. If it was a woman, I'd be like, cool. All right, bet, cool. Let me take it from here.
Yeah.
I got you. No, I don't know what she's. Most Hispanic identify as white these days. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. That is true. I know that.
It is, yeah.
The sad thing is it appeals to a lot of Hispanic people to identify as white, because then they can get just a few of the little tidbits, and now you're invited, but they don't, they don't mess with us.
Yeah.
We're saying, no, Hispanic people y'all are our brothers. Don't go with them. And they're like, well, I don't know. They're saying they're going to give us this. No, don't go. But if you look on some of the older, I was doing a survey. I think it was a survey, and it asked me, which group do I fit in? Is it Asian, Pacific Islander, white, Anglo-Saxon, or Negro, Black, African American? That was it. It was only 3 choices.
Yeah. I've always seen it like that too.
You've seen that before? There was only 3 choices, and I'm telling you, they know something about all these extra ethnic groups that we don't know, that a lot of us don't know. It didn't have Saudi Arabia. It didn't have any of that stuff. It had 3 groups, and that was it.
Yeah, well, race and ethnicity are not the same thing.
That's true too.
Right, and the way they do a census, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not, a lot of the Hispanics that identify as white. Some of it's not really their fault, man, because for a long time, I think it's still like this, brother. There's no real other option for you, right? Like the idea that most Hispanic people don't know that they're actually the same thing as like Native Americans, or as ethnically speaking. It's mind blowing, brother, because you were here also. Mexican, Puerto Rican, y'all were also here when they all showed up. So, like, you're not Hispanic, you're not Latin, you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, but the government decided for other reasons that this group would be called white, this group would be called something else.
Yeah,
and so.
You can. Let me see. There we go again.
Y'all going ham in the comments. Let me see.
All right, you can be indigenous and not be Native American. That's true. Well, Hispanic comes in all shades, so we can be white passing, but we don't identify as white.
Yeah.
So which box do you check? I don't. I write I'm indigenous. They're just talking. There's a difference between being white and being white passing pale. I've never seen that option on any application. That's anecdotal. Plus, you can have a right. You can have a write it even on the census. Write it. Right. Applications have other options. I've dated Hispanic. I'd like to see that. You dating a Hispanic means nothing.
I
You
was
can
trying to
look it up
argue with
on a
everybody,
census
man.
that they have
Golly.
a writing option.
You trying to argue with everybody, Alyssa?
I had to put down white on paper due to Palestine, Israel today being in Europe. Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hear that, brother? Manny has to write white.
Yeah, brother. It's wild, man. It's wild how they do it, brother. But this is where they get their numbers. It's we've talked about this before, how they conflate their numbers, and on paper it says there's X amount of white people in America, and it's like, what percentage of that is not from Europe that are checked as white because whatever, you know what I'm saying?
The fact that you believe. I don't know if I will keep highlighting these. I don't. All right. So I guess y'all see each other's comments. All right. Matter of fact, this is prime example of what I'm trying to get at. One of the things that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about was unity.
Yeah.
It's unity. We got to unite. All of us have brains. All of us think. Brother, why should I think this way, this degree? And because my degree is 93 degrees northwest, and the way you're thinking is 90 degrees northwest. Why, brother? Why can't we just see what's the most important thing and just do that all together? Why can't we do it?
Yeah, that's that. I think it's a lot of it's that club mentality, and that's what I really appreciated about this last speech from Martin Luther King was he was really starting to talk about solutions, and how to defeat this club mentality is what I call it. I don't know if anybody, like I'm part of this club, and so what about my club? You know what I'm saying? What about the Puerto Rican community? Or whatever, and it's like, nah, man, like let that go, man, because historically, it takes time, but historically you can find that there was a group of people that came here and did all of this stuff to all the different people that were here. You know what I'm
saying? The crazy thing is, we're not going far enough into who we are.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we can all look at it and say, nah, you don't look like me. So how can we be the same? Or you ain't been what I've been through. That's true. That's obvious. Everybody ain't been through the same thing. But when I see families, I meet my family members, my brother, I have one sister. And I've never gotten into an argument with let's see, my oldest brother, my second oldest brother, my sister. Of course, Dot and I we didn't have. You know what I'm saying? Dot.
Yeah. You even got. I already know. I could see it happening.
You know what I'm saying? He's stubborn, but I love him, right? But we make sure that that's not something that we do. When I see family members do that, Jeff, you and I have talked about it. When I see family members do that, I'm puzzled. I'm puzzled because we're all supposed to be going somewhere as a family.
Yeah,
right? We had to live in the same house. You know what I'm saying? And even if we didn't have to live in the same house, we have to live under the same. There's something that bonds us together. Why should we pull ourselves away? from each other. Why? How come every like some people are killing each other and they live in the same neighborhood, but just because you're on that block and I'm over on this block, you got to die for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we doing that to each other? Why, if my daughter likes a man that doesn't look exactly like me, why do I have to why do I have to why do I have to change that? Why do I have to say no? Why are we doing that if we're all from the same originally we're all from the same place? It's in the scriptures.
Yeah.
So back to what he was saying, let's just look at it. Let's just look at why he had to, in my estimation, why he had to die. He says we don't have to argue with anybody. We don't have to curse and go around acting bad with our words. We don't need any bricks and bottles. We don't need any Molotov cocktails. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country and say, God sent us by here. God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. And we've come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. And so, as a result of this, we're asking you tonight to go out and tell your neighbors not to buy Coca-Cola in Memphis. I'm going to stop there. Do you think there's ever a day that all of us can say, we're not going to buy Coca-Cola anymore? Is that possible, Jeff?
I'm conflicted on that answer, brother.
Is it possible, brother, that we can say, and no matter how much I like Coca-Cola products, because it's not just Coca-Cola, brother. Because some people are, oh yeah, Coke, yeah, I'll stop buying Coke. But that means Sprite too.
Coca-Cola products is Sprite. Yeah. I mean, I suppose it could be.
It's possible.
It is possible. Yeah, I suppose so. Because there's things that Hispanic people and Black people all boycott inadvertently. So they could boycott things purposefully.
Yeah. Yes. I don't care who my child dates, but the person they bring home must either know or try to learn about our culture. Alyssa, you know your culture?
Yeah.
You know your heritage? No, better question. Do you know your heritage? I don't buy sodas for the house. Okay. Because if we could come together and say, all right, bet all this money that we're making, we're going to as a war. This is a war strategy. I don't want y'all to think it's anything less than that. I don't want you to think, oh, this is just something that we're doing for like 6 months. No, this is a war strategy. So let's look at Brittany Griner. Y'all, does everybody know who Brittany Griner is? She's a 6'9" WNBA basketball star. She's from Texas. 6'9". She went to Baylor College. She's in Russia right now, and they don't want to let her go because she had some vape oil.
Mm-hmm.
Russia.
Yep.
That's an act of war.
Should be, yeah.
No, that is an act of war. If somebody says, I'm going to keep her for vape oil, I'm going to keep her.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what y'all do. I don't care what y'all say. We're going to keep her locked up. Yes, ma'am. She's still locked away. She's a Black female. There's a few things they have against her. She's very tall. That's intimidating. She is a prominent figure. I'm sure that's working against her. She is black, what so-called black, and she is what a lesbian. I'm sure that's how she identifies. So some of the lack of support may come from one of those reasons, brother. One, or more than one of those reasons. The second is that brother ain't no response to that act of war, brother. If somebody slapped me in my nose, that's an
Yes, they just asked you for
we
war.
got
That's
we got
that's how you
we
ask
got
for
an
a
issue.
fight in sign language. That's how you ask for a fight in sign language.
Absolutely, we have issues.
Yeah.
And so them holding on to Brittany Griner the way they are, they're saying, listen, America, we don't care what y'all got going on. We're at war against y'all, and this is one of our war tactics. We got her. You're not going to get her back because you were helping Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And so she should. This American should know better. We're enemies right now. It's a war. Now, what could the Americans do? What could the Americans do to make sure that she came home? Just tweet about it.
I mean, there's solutions, but are you saying this regime? What would this regime? What should they do to get her home?
I'm not talking about Biden, bro. Biden can't do nothing, man.
Yeah, it's funny that the least racist person is who everybody voted for, and he's the guy that won't go get her. I think Trump would have went to go get her, but whatever.
Trump did. He went and got people before. He got people from China. He
Yeah,
did that.
yeah.
But what I'm asking is, what can we do? Biden ain't gonna do nothing, and the vice president ain't gonna do nothing.
Right.
Kamala Harris,
Yeah.
they ain't gonna do nothing. What could we do? Let's look up Russia's greatest import into America. Look that up for me, brother. I'm gonna pull some of these comments up.
Russia's greatest import into America.
Yes, sir. Or whatever their greatest export is as well. Slavery was around before America was founded. It's true. No way LeBron would still be there. Absolutely not.
Nah.
Absolutely not. We do know that. I'm guessing you don't know about the Aztec, Mayans, Taínos. Slavery was around way before America being found. That's true. I was asking if you know your heritage. Oh, yeah. Oh, they're still. I don't know why I keep jumping into their conversation, brother. They say she had a prescription. It was for pain. Yeah, they don't care about that. They don't care about that. Not y'all defending Trump. Now we're defending Brittany Griner. Alyssa. We're defending Brittany Griner. Okay, yeah. Young ladies are talking. I try to stay out of mineral fuels, metal, and stone. That's what comes into America the most.
Yes, sir. And then about $69 million worth of agricultural products comes from Russia.
Okay.
So a lot of wheat. I think one of their biggest exports is grain or wheat.
All right.
And fertilizer. Ukraine is fertilizer because you got to have those natural gases to make fertilizer. So,
okay. Petroleum, platinum. All right. So,
Yep.
so here's what we could do. If we found out everything that every company and every product that uses their mineral fuels, metal, stone, petroleum, platinum. If we found it out and we say, hey, look, we're not buying these products, man. We're not supporting any company that uses any of these products at all. I guarantee you they'll let it go. America is the biggest consumer. We consume like nobody else. Our consumption is out of this, brother. The reason why cartels and different places from outside this country, why they do so well, is just ship it to the United States.
mm-hmm.
We consume like nobody else. And who's the biggest consumer base? Which is the biggest consumer base? It's the people that they call minorities.
Mhm.
We literally control the world. Y'all don't know it. I don't know it because I'm over here. We're over here like we're over here like saying, hey, snap out of it. Uh, let's talk business, and we control business because we are the consumer.
Yeah.
A producer can produce, but if there's no consumption, then they have no business. You know, one of the richest people in the world is Bernard Arnault. He's one of the richest people in the world. He is the owner of LVMH. That's the brands Gucci and Louis Vuitton. Some of these real high end liquors. Yeah, brother, who's the biggest consumer of those products?
Yeah, I would say it'd have to be minority groups,
It's
brother.
the so-called minority groups. Who's the
It'd have to be.
majority?
Yeah.
Who is actually the majority? Let's see. Uh, y'all said Biden is the most racist between them. Is that what you said, Jeff? I think you said the other. You think you said
No,
it the other way around.
I said Biden was supposedly the least racist between the two, but he is racist. But Trump went to my land and threw paper towels at my people like they were at a basketball game. That's better than anyone has ever done for Puerto Rico. Throwing paper towels at people on the island is better than any other president has done. Even if it is disrespectful, it's still better. Not to defend Trump, but don't get it twisted. Nobody has ever cared about Puerto Rico, Alyssa, outside of Puerto Ricans.
I care about Puerto Rico, Jeff. Right?
You do. Yes, sir. And I'm not saying that no one should. Obviously, these are my people, but United States presidents have never cared about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Not a single one of them.
Well, we're not going to we are not going to protest for her, right? No, we're not going to protest. We're gonna go to war for it. I'm good on white. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right. That's not for me. No one will stop buying products. I don't think. Yeah, yeah. If we talked about it enough,
Yeah.
if we talked about it enough, we would. Uh, y'all need more men on. Where the men at? Where are these dudes, man?
Yeah, ladies, go get
Oh,
the
man.
fellas and tell them to come in.
It is for men primarily, right? It's for y'all too.
It's
We
for
love
every
y'all.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where the men are. Dude, have some respect for our people. You don't ever defend our people.
Who, you talking to me, Alyssa? I don't defend them?
No thing, no pride at all. Manny said, oh, I'm sorry, Manny Saeed. Yeah, they say Sundays for everyone and Mondays for men. But all right. So I'm gonna defend Jeff. Don't worry about it. Sit back and chill, man. I'm gonna defend you on this one.
You sure? Because I can.
No. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Alyssa, I'm gonna start off with telling you that I do care about you very much and I love you. And that's easy to say. It's just easy to say. A lot of people they just say stuff like that all the time, but I do. I've known about you since you were a little girl. You know, I used to actually see you when I used to see when you would come with uh little Tony. Tony was 7 years old, you know, and then your mother and I'd be leaving visitation, and I think Jeff would be coming into visitation.
Yeah. She had that emo haircut. You were emo back then, Alyssa.
Yeah. You had to maybe been probably middle school.
Yeah.
And I have all the names memorized. You know, I know your dad's name. I know your mom's name. I know her nickname, her short name, and her full name. It's in the Bible, actually. I know the order. I know how many years y'all are apart from each other. Yeah, I didn't ask you. I know all this because of Jeff. Jeff would he would share all this stuff with me. I know what his favorite sister is. You know, and so when I say I love you, I mean it. I mean that. I mean that. And I don't think I've ever shown you otherwise. But Jeff, he's the one that taught me that the Taino people were all right, I gotta take this one. Favorite sister. I'm literally his only sister. Okay, so let me put it in perspective. When his younger sister, like immediately under him, was having a child, his name's Xavier. She was having her first boy. He talked more about Alyssa than he did Maritza. He did. So
he knows that. Yeah,
no,
that's
I'm
true.
telling you, I'm not. This is not smoke. I'm not just saying stuff.
No, I get it.
And so no, you're not his only sister. You're not. But I get it. I understand the turmoils and just stuff that is for a different day. But I'm just letting you know that all the things that I know about Puerto Rico has come from Jeff. All the things that I know about Puerto Rico, and I've always cared about Puerto Rico because there's pretty women from there. The food is good, but literally all the things I know about Puerto Rico comes from Jeff, and I know what he wants to do for the land of Puerto Rico. I know what you don't know is that Jeff wanted to. We were in Michigan. He actually wanted to go and fight all of America and its colonies for Puerto Rico, and I had to slow him down. Like, Jeff, man, it don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to show him something in the scripture to show him where he got that from. His father, not his dad, but his father, which is Ephraim. His family, his y'all's family, which is Ephraim, all have the same mindset. Oh, let's just go to war. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. And it's usually Judah that says, "What do you don't have enough? You don't have enough food to go to war. How are you going to go to war? You don't have the food." So I don't know the impression that you have of your brother Jeff. You know what I'm saying? I got older brothers that I hold to different standards because I'm younger. You know what I'm saying? And I look at them like, nah, man. You know, and I just start saying stuff because I'm younger than them. I don't know no better. But I don't know anybody that reps Puerto Rico more than this dude. And I'm telling him, like, Jeff, you know, according to the scriptures, you're not what your mother is, you're what your father is. And it's still hard for him to hear that. It's still really hard for him to
My mother raised me. She's a Puerto Rican woman, therefore I'm a Puerto Rican man.
And he's been like that. He's been like that. But I will say this, that anybody that's Puerto Rican, anybody that's black, anybody that's Cubano, Colombiano, there's no way that you can go and say, you're mean to us, you're unfair to us, and let me show you how. That's not going to work. There's nothing in that. Alyssa, there's nothing in, oh yeah, let me use these sharp words against you. There's nothing in there. You can do nothing with that. Nobody cares. No. Even the so-called white people that lend an ear to you, they don't care about none of that stuff. It's not going to work. You have to have guns. You have to have food. You have to have money.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And the only way that's going to happen is if we work together. We got to work together. Look at Haiti. Haiti said, nah, we're going to fight these people. We're going to fight these people and get them up off me. And they did that. They fought the people, got them up off of them. They felt like how they felt. And now they're the only nation that cannot do business outside of their country. They can't do anything. Now, what's that going to make them? Very poor. Because it was not strategic. And they did not get with the rest of their brethren. So it does. I get that you have your look. You know what I'm saying? So that makes, that gives you a certain confidence. It's good. You have your understanding, and that gives you a certain kind of confidence. That's good. You have your mind, that gives you a certain kind of confidence. That's good. But doing this against your brother, that all that diminishes anything that you're making everything weaker. It's weaker. It's weaker because now I'm going to use everything I am against you and against you and against you, and you're fighting 9 people at once.
Yeah, we're actually all on the same side here.
You tell me, how wise is that?
Yeah.
You may say, "Oh, now, okay, now who's this guy? He's just over here talking noise." Yeah, that's what I do. I talk noise. But I don't do it for me. I do it for us. You got fight in you because you have no choice. Look at your dad. Look at your mom. You have no choice. Of course, it's gonna be fighting. There's fighting Tony. There's fighting Jeff. There's fighting Maritza. There's fighting all of y'all. Why wouldn't y'all fight together? Why not? Why wouldn't y'all all fight in the same direction? Why not? What's wrong with that? Isn't there something wrong with not saying, okay, we're all gonna fight in the same direction? Isn't there something wrong with that? Jeff and I, we don't look the same. Fighting the same fight though. For a long time. It's been a long time we fight the same fight.
Yeah.
Fight against wickedness, fight against falsities,
Foolishness. Yeah.
foolishness. All right.
Yeah.
So,
if I may, real quick, brother, it's kind of a micro example of the topic at hand here, and some of the things that Martin Luther King Jr. brought up in his last speech, right? And it's about unity. That's what, and it wasn't about
that's how
unity,
it ended. Yeah.
and it's not like the human race, right? I just throw that out there. Like people say, well, we all bleed the same blood, and it's like, it's not really true. We actually don't all bleed the same blood. There's literally different types of blood. But it's about unity, and the unity is what? It's the people that are forced into this position of disposition. I just made that up. The people that are forced into this position have to work together to get out of it, and not to equalize the field, right? Not to make things right, and not to bring ultimate peace. To get out of it so that they don't die. That's the point.
Yeah.
We have to work together because we're literally dying, and we won't survive. We'll cease to exist if we don't do something about it. And the way we have to do something about it is through X, Y, and Z. And in his speech, he talks about withholding funds from banks and investment firms and shopping and grocery, supporting, Black-owned businesses, things like this. And this is absolutely a good way to start. The protesting gets in people's faces. It lets people know that something is amiss here. But the next step, and that I think is good for maybe the beginning stage, but the next stage definitely needs to be where our money is going, and then the stage after that needs to be where our feet are being planted, and then after that it needs to be how our minds are growing, our understanding. You know what I mean? And I think so many times we get caught up in our individual goals and wants and needs that we forget that as a people we thrive together.
Can you do that again, brother? Say that again. You said get in their faces, and then we're putting our feet, and then
it's you get in their faces. The first step is to get in people's faces to let them know something is amiss. The next step is what we're going to do with our money. And then after that, it's where we plant our feet, right? Where we're planting our feet. And then the next is how our minds are growing, gaining our understanding.
I like it.
And this is the steps by which a nation is built. And it's not just about building a nation, it's about recovering a nation. So we're not just talking about building a group of people up, but it's about recovering a group of people. And then I think that's one of the things that he brings up is not just building in the dirt, but getting out of the dirt and building in a way where you don't have to go back to the dirt. And there's groups of people, there's governing bodies that would want to see other groups of people suffering for various reasons. And this is fine. It's fine that they want to see that. I don't care if a president says that he wants to see Puerto Rico starve. It doesn't matter what someone says or does. What matters is, what are the people going to do? That's what matters. What are the people going to do about it? There's never been a president that has loved a so-called group of minorities.
Never.
It's never happened. Not one time in the United States has a president risen up and actually loved with their actions a group of people or groups of people. It's never happened. I don't care if the guy was racist or not. He did. Even the most non-racist president still did not love Puerto Rico enough to save the island from disparity.
Who's
People,
that?
the island of Puerto Rico. The people
No,
on
who was the
least president. Oh, I don't know.
most
Obama.
non-racist?
Obama, the most non-racist president, I guess, would be Obama.
Okay.
Still did not save the island of Puerto Rico from disparity. He didn't do anything to help. He didn't eliminate the Jones Act. He didn't restore to the island what was taken from the island. They still test their explosives. They still use it for testing biology and science. And the same goes on for all of these things. It goes on for every island, every minority group of people. They don't love us. They don't love us. And that's fine. That's okay. I think what Martin Luther King Jr. was saying is this is the time for us to stop expecting that and to start doing something from where we're at.
That's good. I don't think non-Puerto Ricans, non-indigenous will understand. I can see that. Wait, what are the people going to do? So Americans in the state and colonizers trash Puerto Rico, hurt our people. Yeah, my people have to fix it.
Yes. Let me just real quick.
Yes, sir.
There was a point in time, just to talk about Puerto Rico, since that's what we're talking about. There was a point in time when there was some people that were wanting to socialize the island. They believed in socialism. They were trying to create the Socialist Party of the people of Puerto Rico, and they needed to get the world's attention because the United States, the mainland United States, would not listen. This is all in the book of the war against Puerto Ricans, the war against all Puerto Ricans, and banks hired soldiers to come and basically shoot people on the island. And so in their efforts to get the world's attention, they attempted an assassination of the United States president. This is what the people, the socialist people of Puerto Rico did. Their plans were foiled and they were shot and killed in the street in front of the temporary White House because the original White House being worked on. It got headlined as Puerto Rican gang members kill each other in the streets. And so this didn't work. The next step was to do something big. And what they did was they hung the Puerto Rican flag on the forehead of the Statue of Liberty. That's what they did. And it got the world's attention and some people came and helped. Some changes were made, but then it was all squashed by the United States government. I'm not saying that people need to fix America's problem and then continue loving America. I'm saying that talking about the problem won't help the problem. Talking about the solution is what helps. I don't care that someone came and threw toilet paper in the midst of dire times. I don't care. That's a problem. What we need to talk about is a solution. And I think that's what made me appreciate Martin Luther King Jr. just a little bit more than I did, even though I didn't really appreciate him prior to hearing the I've been to the mountaintop. I didn't really agree with everything he was doing because I just didn't see that it would work. But hearing that speech, he addressed solutions. And totally, I know, brother, we're men of action. We're men of
absolutely.
Bible. You have to address solutions. Problems don't matter. What someone's done doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Is it unfortunate? Of course. Is it an act of war? Absolutely. But what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue fighting with each other? Are we going to start creating more and more subgroups of each other? Well, I'm of the group that believes this part, and I'm actually this. And if you dig and you're going to stop at the middle of the root and call yourself a Taino, dig to the bottom, get to the very bottom of the root, the very bottom, and you'll find that's where the solution is. It's at the very bottom of the problem.
That's good. Here's some homework if we care. We have Brittany Griner. I can tell you what the state is for her right now. They're trying to do something where they can bring Paul Whelan and her as a swap, criminal swap, or however they call it. Paul Whelan pretty much didn't do anything, but was accused of having drugs, and it was medical, it was prescribed to him, but whatever. Their laws are their laws. And we know what Brittany Griner did. So they wanted to do a 2-for-1 swap. It's kind of the guy that's here was actually accused of murdering. He's serving like a 25-year sentence. And Russia said, nah, throw in one other person. Also, throw in another person that is also Russian. That's, I don't know what crime the second person did, but throw in another person and we'll see. They're just playing with America. Just playing with. Oh, you want two people that barely had any weed back, and you're going to exchange them for what? For murderers? We'll get back to you. We'll see. That's the state as far as what America is, the government is trying to do to see if we can get her back. She's a Texan, so it's more than just, oh, is she black? Oh, she played basketball. I love basketball.
Yeah.
She's Dallas, lesbian. Huh?
She from Dallas, right? Oak Cliff?
No, sir. She's from Houston area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She went to Baylor though.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from the Houston area. All right. She's also a Texan. So I feel like this is part of my problem. I do feel like I'm a part of it. They involve me. So what we can do, very simply, do our homework, find out what products use Russia, and go to Twitter with it. Brother, you go to Twitter with it. I'm understanding Twitter's the place. You know what I'm saying? You can get a lot of stuff going.
Yeah.
So if you support getting Brittany Griner home, you got to hit them in there. That's when everybody gets serious. It's when you deal with money, that's where everybody gets serious.
Mm-hmm.
If we were giving money out on this podcast, this podcast, there a lot more people would take it seriously. There will be a lot more people getting in here.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, brother. Handing out money.
That's when people get serious, when you deal with money. So, if it's serious enough, because look, brother, none of us are making money if Brittany Griner comes back or doesn't come back. We won't make any money or lose any money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We won't. So maybe we won't care. Maybe after this live goes off, no one cares, brother. It's just like, no, that's not gonna work anyway. And then you won't go to Twitter with it, or you won't go find some products that you can put up on Twitter and say, hey, if enough of us blah blah, we don't buy that, we don't support this, that'll lean on Russia. Russia can't make no money. They're gonna let her go. If we say, we're not gonna do that, I don't care enough about that, then it's no surprise because there ain't no money. It's your life isn't at stake, your family's not involved, and you ain't making no money off of it, or you ain't losing no money off of it. So it's easy to just be like, well, that's her problem.
Yeah.
But it further shows us that we're not one. We're not united.
Yeah.
We're not united. But I believe that I can see us being united. Let me say that. I can see us being united. And I don't care how many differences we have. We have the main thing the same is that we disagree with being oppressed.
Yeah.
Speaking of oppressed, this is what Alyssa says. So an oppressed group is supposed to dig us out of a hole that the colonizers have subjected us to. Our reserves are already being threatened. Absolutely. If somebody puts me in a hole, brother, if 90 men put me inside of a hole, they all dug it and threw me into a 40-foot hole.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, you 90 bastards. Look at how far down I am. You
come get me immediately. I demand.
90 men. You have broken my civil rights and duty as I'm supposed to be a citizen. Look what you did to me. I wouldn't talk to them at all. I wouldn't say a word. Especially if there was somebody else down there with me. I'd be like, bro, so how long you been down? I'll just talk to him. How long you been down here? man. They just do it down here like a day. I've been here for a day. Cool. So what all have you tried so far? Oh man, I tried to climb back up. Okay, cool. Then they're gonna throw some more, probably. You know what I'm saying? Probably throw some more people down here. But
Yeah.
all right. You and I, let's figure out all the things that won't work. Let's figure it all. Let's just get that out the way. Because when they come down here, they're gonna say some other stuff. If we already know what's not gonna work, it's not gonna work.
Yep.
Good. All right. So cool. Let's look at the crabs. The crabs in a bucket. For one, crabs don't belong in a bucket. That's why they act like that. That's not their natural habitat. I don't know what's going on, but I can see. I'm paying attention. Right. So if I could instruct the crabs, I would say, hey, look, there's a lot of y'all in here. Y'all are all kind of slippery. But if you just kind of stack yourselves onto each other and then make like some support on the stack, then you can go ahead and climb all the way to the top. And with your strong claw, you know what I'm saying? You get over, you grab somebody else to come over, you act as an anchor. You hold my legs. Hold my legs. I'm gonna reach down here. I'm gonna pull somebody else up. You hold their legs.
Yeah.
Send me down a little bit. I'm gonna pull, and we can pull it. We can get up out of here, man.
Yeah, right.
Definitely could do it. But ain't nobody else gonna do it. The people that put them in that bucket, they're not getting you out of there. They're gonna cook you.
Nah, and yeah, there's nobody else to call. Like, if you want to fix the problem, you have to fix the problem. That's it. Nobody else is gonna fix it. We don't have tools. We don't have the tools to dig us out. That's the thing. We have artists like Bad Bunny, J-Lo, Pitbull doing more for PR than any American in the States or leader. That's the problem with the mindset. And this is across the border, listen, I love you. But it's that we don't have the tools. We absolutely
Damn right we have the tools.
We absolutely have
talking to you about the tools right now.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, the money that the island of Puerto Rico pays in taxes alone every year is enough money to sustain it as an economy. All Puerto Rico would have to do is quit paying taxes. Now, it sounds like all you have to do is quit paying taxes. Okay, well, there's a lot involved in this. But, what are these guys, the J-Lo, Pitbull, what are they doing? They're like donating money to help relief funds and all this. It's all good, but that's like very surface level stuff. You have to get into the real problem with what's going on.
You gotta suffer, man. You gotta suffer.
Absolutely. And
that's the thing.
Yeah, and it's like this. It's like this. And I'll say this to disperse some of this lack of unity going on. The problem with Puerto Rico is also related to the problem with what's going on in the Caribbean islands. It's related to the problem that's going on in Mexico and the northern part of South America. It's not like all the places surrounding the island, their problems don't affect the island of Puerto Rico also. See what I'm saying? And so when somebody looks and says, well, the problem in the Black community is X, Y, and Z, and they think it has nothing to do with the Hispanic community or another community. What do you mean? The problem with the Black community is also affected by the problems within the Hispanic community.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. You can't fix your problem without looking at the people around you who are also suffering and looking to see if your solution will solve their problem as well. Because if, let's say, Puerto Rico just all of a sudden blossoms and does really well, all of the people around Puerto Rico that are suffering are going to create suffering for Puerto Rico all over again. That's why Haiti is doing so poorly. That's why Zimbabwe is doing so poorly, because they did what? Zimbabwe kicked out its oppressors. It kicked out the colonizers, the white people, Rhodesia, and then immediately turned into the most poor and violent place to live on the face of the earth. And it's because they didn't fix the rest of South America, South Africa. Right. You understand? It's not just a Zimbabwe problem. It wasn't just a Rhodesia problem. It was a South America problem, a South Africa problem. You know what I'm saying? And so history.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll
No, I want to read what she said. I don't think you guys understand how insensitive this is. These people died and our land was damn near gone after the hurricane. Like Puerto Rico goes through all that while Americans sit pretty in the States. Now, I don't think you understand. First, let me acknowledge how it must look. It must look like, oh, we're just men being men. Just want to. I don't know how you see it, but I see the word insensitive. But I do know that you don't know how many hours Jeff and I have put towards solutions for Puerto Rico. There's no way you would know because I seriously doubt Jeff has told you how many hours.
No, not even
put
close.
towards-
There's no idea how much we thought about
There's
this.
no way you have no idea how much time in our putting together of a war strategy that we've talked about specifically because of that situation, how powerless we were. And it doesn't feel good. How long do you want to be powerless? Like, oh man, I wish I could do something, but I can't. All I can do is cry about it. How long is that good? Even if there's people sitting pretty in the stage, just sitting pretty. How long do you want to be like, oh, how horrible is everyone? Y'all don't even care. How long is that? How long is that going to work? Like, how long is that going to work for you? How long is that going to satisfy you? There has to be real action. If we said some of the stuff that Jeff and I talked about over this Facebook podcast, our houses will get raided because we have real plans, true plans that we cannot say over this Facebook platform. We cannot say.
Yeah.
We
Political,
spent many
social,
hours.
economic plans, all of it.
Even more than that, plans.
Even more than all of it. Yeah.
Devastating type of things, plans.
So, yeah.
There's no way you would know. So we'll just take we're being insensitive. We'll take it. But it's not a small thing. Even to me, it's not a small thing to Jeff because he's the first one that talked about it. But it's not a small thing to me. And all we need is to be able to come together, listen to one another. It doesn't have to be Jeff's idea or my idea or your idea. It could be somebody who's 19 and they're like, whoa, like, you know what? I think that'll work. But we have to assemble. They don't want to hear they have Puerto Rico in such a way that you can never be wealthy. That the way they have it set up, the nation could never be wealthy because of embargo. We talk about this stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, the Jones Act. Yeah, it keeps Puerto Rico in poverty. Absolutely.
There's no way that Puerto Rico will be able to ship out things and whatever the way it's set up.
Yeah.
But we do have a plan that's going to bring the decision makers to their knees.
Yeah, and that plan doesn't involve being sensitive to the feelings of people. We're not blaming the people that are suffering for their suffering. We're saying that to call out the people that are creating the suffering is not going to help. That's what we're saying. And that's across the board because I think Puerto Rico represents the overall issue with the so-called minority groups. You know what I'm saying?
And I appreciate your passion because that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But we got to do things together. There's no way we can be back and forth at each other and it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I care more about this than you do. It's not going to work. No, you don't.
It doesn't help, man. It's all good though.
All right, so let's end it with this. So the Martin Luther King thing. Let's just look back at Martin Luther King and Malcolm, right? That's kind of been a theme on here. I'm more of a Malcolm guy.
Yeah.
If Malcolm X, and Dr. Martin King were united, neither of them would have died.
No. We'd probably be living in a different America, brother.
They wouldn't have died. They died because weaker men than them allowed them to get killed. Weaker men, men that were not as dedicated as they were. But those two dedicated people, isn't that how X-Men even came about? Like Magneto is kind of like Malcolm X, and then Professor X is kind of like Martin, Dr. Martin.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What would happen with the X-Men if Magneto and what's it called? If
Xavier.
Magneto and Xavier, what if they got together?
Oh, brother. Yeah. The world would be terrified.
You think the mutants would be better off?
For sure. Absolutely, yeah.